hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner, and this is my review for the season 2 finale of Insecure. Hella perspective. This was a good episode, but also at first I was getting a little lost. I'm like, what's going on? But then I realized, okay, they're doing the perspective of Issa, Molly, and Lawrence all wrapped up into one. So let's get into this review. So we see Issa, and she's like kind of walking around eating some ice cream or eating some yogurt or eating some something, and she's kind of looking around like, things look a little different. So no, she stops and she asks someone like, what, this didn't used to be like a family restaurant? She's like, oh, I don't know, they're just kind of getting rid of all the old businesses and they're making something new. She's like, oh, okay. And she keeps walking the girl like, oh, come back in 30 days for the new opening of blah, 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 blah. It's going to be the hype was thinking I would. And she's like, I would? Because they're in fucking Inglewood. So she's like, okay, whatever. So, from there it's like, 30 days with Lawrence. I'm like, 30 days with Lawrence? What the fuck are they talking about? 30 days? What? So we then see, okay, this is things from Lawrence's perspective. Get it? Hella perspective. So we first see is Lawrence and that girl. What's her damn name? Aporna. First of all, her name, Aporn. Come on now. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that was just weird to me. But we see they're running a marathon together. So we're like, okay, they must still be kicking it. And as they're running this marathon, we see Lawrence spot Molly and Issa in the crowd, which kind of distracts him a little bit, but he keeps running. She's like, dang, why you running so fast? You trying to win? And I'm thinking, bitch, yeah, I mean, who wants the marathon and you don't want to really win? But I digress. So, they keep running the marathon and everything cool. So then it goes from that, and the scenes were happening like click, 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 click. It was going from one thing to the next to the next. So next we see Lawrence and Aporna, and they at his house. They're in the kitchen, and they cooking, preparing for whoever to come over. And they're laughing and talking, and, he like tastes this food, and she tasting the food. She got her ass all on the counter. I mean, she got a skirt on, but still, it's her ass on the counter. And I have an issue with anybody who put their ass on the counter. I'm just not a person who like for people's ass to be in, in communal space. My thing is, if you have company, your company might, have their hand on that place in that counter. And her ass is on there. I just, I'm like, don't people have seats? But I don't think Lawrence got all the furniture that he needs. Yes, so maybe that was the only place for her to have a seat in the kitchen. Anywho, so, she tasting the food, and they laughing and talking, going back and forth or whatever. And at one point she said something like, yeah, I know I can depend on you, or something about she can depend on him, or something she said. I can't remember the exact wording, but it made him look a little like, oh shit, where this going? Is it getting too, he looked a little, like, what the fuck she mean by that? And then she was like, can I get a piece of that? And then I'm like, is she asking for some dick or for some meat? It go hand in hand, so we don't know. Anywho, but he like, oh, you want another piece of this? And they start kissing. What they doing? And then they gon', she taking her shirts off, he taking his shirt off, and they finna have sex in the kitchen. Again, why do people want to have sex in communal spaces? Don't fuck in your kitchen. I mean, I get it's your kitchen and all, because you can do what you want to do in your household. But I'm just like, don't you? I mean, well, people have sex all over the place. It's true. But yeah, but whatever. But I still think it's, I don't know. That's what Clorox wipes are for, so I digress. The next scene that we see, now they out at dinner. And, they laughing and stuff. And then she like, how is work going? And he like, oh, it's going cool. She's like, oh, yeah, well, I heard from Colin, it's going better than that. And he like, oh, so you and Colin, chit-chat. What else he tell you? Since y'all so close. Well, come to find out, she fucked Colin before, which is one of their co-workers. And she like, we only had sex a couple of times, it wasn't that big of a deal. He like, oh, y'all had sex more than once? I guess he was under the impression they only had sex once. And she was like, no, it was a couple of times, and each time we was drunk. And he was like, okay. And then she like, well, it wasn't nothing, we were drunk, it was always alcohol involved. And he like, well, if it kept happening again, you had to have liked something about him. And she was like, well, he's funny, he's nice, and he was just there, and it was what it was, but it's not nothing serious like that. It just was sex, and it didn't mean anything. And as Lawrence is listening to her talk, he look over and he sees Molly. Molly's walking to the restaurant on it with a date or whatever. And he kind of looks like, damn, okay, there go Molly. He keeps seeing people that he have in common with Issa. So the next scene we see is he at work. He at work at his little desk, and he look over and he see a Pointer and Colin laughing and giggling at kiki at the goddamn water cooler. And he looking like, what the fuck they over there kiki about? You know what I'm saying? They kiki about they want to get drunk and have sex. And he just looking on like, I peep it. I see what's going on over there. So from there, we see, again, it's going scene. We see now he at home with his boys. You know, he with Tiffany's husband. And who was the other guy? What? Oh, his friend. Whose name I can't remember right now. Why can't I remember nobody's names? It's crazy. But he's the funny friend who he was living with. The light-skinned dude who I think is very fucking hilarious. And they're helping him hang up his TV. And, you know, they're laughing, cracking jokes or whatever. And they then sit down to watch that weird slave show that they all be watching. And as they're talking, he like, no, his friend was like, I need to find out his damn name. And I can't think of what his name is. I feel so bad for not knowing his name. But, you know, he's like, yeah, how's everything going with Jennifer? He was like, her name is Aporna. He like, how's everything going? He like, oh, it's cool. You know, we chilling or whatever. But I'm having to work with her ex at work. And they're like, what? What you mean? You know, like, yeah, someone he slept with, someone she slept with, they're still friends. And they be like laughing and joking and stuff at work. And they like, you know, basically telling him, nah, you should nip that in the bud. You know, she shouldn't be friends with somebody, no one that she used to sleep with. You know what I'm saying? And Tiffany's husband like, yeah, Tiffany had somebody at her job that they were, you know, she slept with before, and named Frank. I think his name was Frank. And he's like, yeah, I went, had a conversation with Frank, and now he ain't around no more. And he was like, you need to nip that in the bud. Like, you know, there's no reason for her to have extra male friends. This is the extra dick around. I'm looking like, really, an extra dick? And why can't men and women be friends after they have sex? I always wonder why people say stuff like that. I mean, I think if it was just sex and now y'all are just friends and there is no more, I want to fuck you. I mean, what's the big deal? I'm friends with people I used to have sex with, and they married with kids. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not even like that anymore. I think you have to, but I do think you have to be at a certain maturity level to let that be. And my thing is, we ain't friends. I'm over his house all the time, and we sitting around chilling. But if he was to invite me to go out and hang with everyone, with all of our other mutual friends, it wouldn't be no issue. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact, you need to be a real adult to be able to let your significant other still be cordial, you know, hi, and that's it, with someone that's stuck with you. They ain't gotta just, you know, go away for life. But that's just my opinion. Aporna and Lawrence are now in the car, and they're going to like a concert or something. They're caught in traffic, and he's talking to her like, yeah, I hate when, you know, this and this and this and this and this. And she in her own little world on her phone, you know, laughing at a text. And he looking over at her, and she just giggling and laughing. And he was like, oh, was Colin really that funny? And she was like, huh, what? And then he was like, no, what are you doing? She was like, that's my niece. My sister texted me, my niece did something funny. And he was like, oh, well, okay. But she's like, yeah, but why you bring him up? And he was like, well, you know, y'all so friendly. I'm just curious. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the one looking stupid. And she like, what? You the one making yourself look stupid. He was like, look, you know, I just don't like liars. And I'm like, Lawrence, where the fuck that come from? Why you assuming this girl lying to you for nothing? You really was all up in your feelings, feeling extra sensitive, and she ain't even did shit. You know what I'm saying? She ain't Issa. Or she might be, who knows? But the point is, you got all up your feelings for nothing. And when he said, I don't like liars, she was like, wow. You know what? Pull the car over. And he like, what? And she's like, pull the car over. You know what I'm saying? I've been through this before. I'm not doing it again. Pull the car over. Let me out. And he was like, it ain't even that serious. I'm saying, my bad. I was tripping. You know, I don't have any issues. So I don't know what you're talking about. And as they have this little dialogue, his phone starts ringing, and who's calling him? Issa's calling him. And she's like, there's your issue right there. I'm tired of this shit. And she gets out the car and she walks away. First of all, I'm not getting out the car with anybody at night and walking no goddamn where. Because what if I get murdered? What if I get maimed? My thing is, we can be mad at each other and we ain't got to speak to each other, but you gonna take me home. You're not finna call me no, oop. No, that's not true. That's not true. I draft myself wherever anyway to avoid situations like that. Because you don't want to be in a car with somebody and y'all get pissed off. And then you do have to get out the car and walk somewhere and call an Uber and all this other stuff. But that was their whole situation. So, as she getting out, he like, I don't even know why she calling me. You know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but Aporna, she gone. She gone, Lawrence. Leave her be. So the next thing we see is Lawrence back at the apartment him and Issa share, and he's walking up to the apartment, and he walks into the apartment. So I'm like, oh shit, did he go back to Issa? And then what does it do? It cuts to the next scene, 30 Days with Molly. So it's the same marathon, except it's her and Issa talking in the crowd. And, you know, they're having a conversation about, because they're at the race, because Kelly is racing in it. And they're waiting for Kelly to run across or whatever. So as they're talking, you know, Molly's talking about how Quentin is the guy's name. It's the guy who I kept saying Lil Rail. I don't think they ever said his name until today. And when they said it, I was very happy and I wrote it down. I hate when some shows have characters who not on there a lot, so they don't say their names a lot. And I be like, I can't remember your name if you don't. I mean, you can't say someone's name one time on one episode, and then they're not back for 4-5 more episodes. I'm not gonna remember their name when you just saying that man or he just in the scene. I ain't gonna remember that shit. So, anywho, but yeah, Molly's like, you know, Quinn's gonna be in town next week, and I want to take him somewhere. But you know, I like him, but he's not my type, so I want to keep it real casual. And Issa's like, whatever, and she's like, I need to see a picture. So she does show Issa a picture of him, and her showing Issa the picture, and Issa saying, oh, he got a beard. It's the same scene we see that Lawrence saw them. So we see from Lawrence's perspective, he just saw Molly and Issa looking at the phone. From their perspective, they didn't even see Lawrence seeing them because they was looking at the phone. Hella perspective. So from there, we see Molly, and then she's going on interviews, because remember, Molly is unhappy at her job, so she was mad when they would not give her a promotion or a raise in last episode. So in this episode, she's at an interview. It seems to be with the black firm, and she seems to be doing well. They do say, you know, you look great on paper, and now that we've met you, you know, we like you in person too. And so from there, she's then at, again, scene. She's then on a date. Well, she's out eating with Quentin, and she see Lawrence. So the thing about it is, Lawrence had already saw her walk in. Her and Quentin are already seated at the table, and she look over, and she then see Lawrence too. But Lawrence don't see her seeing him. Hella perspective. So her and Quentin talking or whatever. She letting Quentin know how good the interview went, and how she's gonna, you know, do a couple more interviews, and then she's gonna go to the partners with her offers and say, hey, this is what I'm being offered. Either show me the money or I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And Quentin tells her, because she looks up and she sees Lawrence, and he's like, what's wrong? She's like, oh, no, I just seen a guy I used to know. And he was like, oh, well, I'm sure this guy is, you know, everywhere or whatever, because you're the most beautiful girl in here. And he's, you know what I'm saying, a little bit, he's shooting his shot. You know what I'm saying? He's shooting that shot. And she's like, oh, you know, that's so nice. And he was like, yeah, you know, what else did he say? No, he was saying, oh, yeah, when you're in Chicago, you know, we should take a day off and we should do dinner. And she's like, oh, you know, yeah, that'll be cool, you know. A girl gotta eat, homie. And she calls him homie. So from there, we see her, again, scene. She's meeting with her therapist. Her therapist, it's a good thing to see her back meeting with the therapist, because at first she wasn't open to it at all. So the therapist is asking her, like, why don't you like him? And she's like, well, he's just not the person I think I should be with. And remember, when she was first in the therapist, the therapist kept on saying, you keep saying this word should. And so you keep having something in your head about what you should do. You should let that go. And she was like, oh, you know, right, I did to say should. You know, I need to let that go. And she was like, focus on what could be and not what should be. And she's like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do that. And then she's talking to a therapist. She gets a text. Who the text from? It's from Dro married ass. Talking about, I miss you. I'm telling y'all, I don't care what nobody say. I don't think Dro has an open marriage. I think Dro is just the man cheating on his wife. And he's using the open marriage thing to get women. And he doing that to get Molly. That's just my personal opinion, because I'm like, it's still too much of a secret of how things are happening. And that's just my opinion. So the next thing we see is she's working with Quentin, and they're talking about how good the case is going, how it's almost wrapping up. You know, he's like, I've never enjoyed working this much in the office. You know, you're so fun. We should have a drink. He go and he get a drink. They pour him a drink, and they do a little toast thing or whatever. And then Molly kind of look at him, and she's thinking about, you know, my therapist just said, you know, I can't be saying what I should do. I should just be could doing stuff. Let me could. And what could she do? She could kiss that man. And what did she do? She kissed that man. Yes, Molly kissed Quentin, and then they had sex on the couch in his office. And she took her clothes off, and he took his clothes off, and she got on top of him, and she rolled him, and they, you know, it was a whole sex scene in the streets. And I'm like, y'all just fucking in the office like that? Yeah. But I think everyone at one point in time has had sex in the office. Mom, you watching this, go ahead and cut it off right now. Pause it. Give it time to pause it. I've done that too. You know what I'm saying? I had a place of employment years ago when I was in my 20s. And, you know, the bosses weren't there. This had to be about like 10 years ago. Yeah, about like 10 years ago. And, you know, whatever. So people, you know, it does happen, you know. I think the thrill of getting caught is what kind of makes it whatever. Okay, Mom, you can come back. So yeah. From that scene of them having sex, we then see now she talking with Issa and Kelly at Issa's house. And she's saying how they're like, oh, so, you know, what's going to happen? She's like, I don't know. I'm going to see where it goes, you know. I don't know. I'm just going to let it flow. And Issa like, well, that must mean the sex was whack. His dick must not be good. And she's like, no, I didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? I like him. He makes me laugh. He's very supportive. You know what I'm saying? So I like him. And they're like, okay, well, what's going to be your decision as far as the law firms? Are you going to go with the black or the white firm? Because she works for a white firm, but she's getting attention from a black firm. And she's like, well, I don't know. You know, I put in all these years with the white firm, and, you know, I have that, so I'm comfortable there. But also the black firm is making me feel very, very welcome, and they get me. And they're like, oh, well, you should go to the black firm. And then Kelly like, well, nah, because, you know, when you with black people, you know, they real comfortable. They start inviting you to stuff. They want to send you to church with them. They want to send you Facebook requests, you know, all this bullshit, which is very true. Sometimes you are in a black place of employment, or if there's too many goddamn on black employees, they want to be, like, at my place of employment, all the black people are friends in my department. Is so funny. Or at least we kind of gravitate to each other. And people, sometimes people do like, oh, we should be Facebook friends. And I'm a firm believer in, I don't want to be a Facebook friend. Like, it took me, I was at my job for 2 years before I accepted someone's Facebook friend request. Because I just didn't want to be, you know, I'm like, I don't know you yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to rock with you like that. But now, you know, I have a couple of friends who I can say they're cool work associates, and we Facebook friends. But that is how it be sometimes at black employers, so to speak, or just black people in general. So they're like, okay, well, go with the white people. And she's like, nah, because with white people, you know, you have to make them feel comfortable with who you are. You know, it's the summertime. Yes, I'm eating watermelon because it's hot outside, but that is the truth. Sometimes with white people, you have to make them feel comfortable around you because they don't know how to act around you. Like, is that your hair? Yes, this is my hair. It's not fake. Oh my God, why is your hair so wavy? I have a good grade of hair. Or my other friend who sometimes she has braids and stuff. Oh my God, it's a thing of having to make them understand who you are, and it's basically a cultural thing. So you're consistently trying to make them feel okay with who you are, and that's the toss-up between the two, dropping Jews all over the world in this particular episode. So Issa like, look, you know, do what you want to do, but just follow, you know, since it's two choices, just follow the money. And she was like, that's what Quentin said. And I'm like, well, bitch, Quentin is telling you the truth. So from there, we see her job, her current job is meeting with her, and they're saying, we heard that you were, taking interviews. The law firm, the law field is very small here, so we kind of know what's going on, and we don't want to lose you. We think you are a very qualified and exceptional lawyer. We want to keep you here. So they give her a folder, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a new job offer. Yes, bitch. They gave Molly a motherfucking Rising Star Award. It was literally a piece of paper, a fucking certificate that can't buy not nan item in America. It can't do shit besides go in the fucking frame. And she looking like, so y'all gonna tell me that y'all don't want to lose me, and y'all know I'm getting offers everywhere else, but you gonna give me the fucking Rising Star Award, and then gonna say it means that you are going to be, so great in the future. Bitch, what? Bitch, who? Bitch, who, what, when, where, and how, what? I'm like, that is some bullshit to epic proportion. Like, how do you even, I'm like, I'm all for awards. I know sometimes you get awards at work and people love it, but at the same time, you can't tell me that I'm trying to go elsewhere. You want to keep me here and figure a piece of paper worth no money. It's not a promotion. It's just a piece of paper saying, good job, stay with us, and maybe we will promote you later. No, fuck you, and every horse you rode in on. So the next scene we see Molly is in bed. She's, she just had sex with somebody. You can see the open condom wrapper on the counter, and she's laughing. The person is like in the bathroom. Her phone rang, and who is it? It's Issa calling. Issa called Lawrence, then she called Molly. Issa calling everybody. So the last scene of it is 30 days with Issa. We see they're back at this marathon, and they're getting to Kelly. Kelly did not finish the marathon. Kelly was taken by ambulance to the finish line. Why? Because Kelly got her period. Yes, Kelly got her period while she was racing in this marathon. And they like, why couldn't you just put a tampon up there and keep racing? And she was like, girl, because it was a heavy period. And by the time I realized that, I had on white pants, so it dripped all down my lips, so it probably looked disgusting. So she was like, so they came and brought me here because they didn't know what was wrong with me. So I'm like, what the fuck? So it's, Kelly's there, Issa, Molly, Tiffany, her husband is all there. And so, her husband like, oh my God, too much information. And she's like, baby, just let, Auntie Kelly get this, whatever. She ran 9 miles, let her get it. So we then find out, dun 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 dun, Tiffany's character is pregnant. And they're like, what, you pregnant? What? And we see that Kelly knew that Tiffany was pregnant, and she's like, oh yeah, bitch, I knew already. Me and her we are closer. And everyone does have that batch of friends where it's like how Molly and Issa are closer. I think Tiffany and Kelly are close, even though they're all friends. Sometimes you and your friends, you still have one friend who you talk to first. Like if there's some gossip going on or something happened, you call one friend first because that's the one you're closer to. Not that you're not close to the other ones. It's just that's kind of how the cycle of friends go. So they were like, yeah, we have been trying for a while to get pregnant. It kind of wasn't happening, so we stopped trying, and we got high at Issa's party. Remember, Issa had that party at her house, and they were high there. And he was like, and that night, we got pregnant. And he was like, oh, we having a high baby. Well, probably so. That's probably how it go. So as they're all talking, we see Issa spots Lawrence at the marathon with a pointer, and they just like cross the finish line, and the girl like jumping up on him and kissing him and stuff. So Issa sees that, but Lawrence does not see Issa seeing him. Again, hella perspective. So from that we see she's like, oh yeah, this is so good, we're all just progressing. Kelly's on her fitness journey. Molly's out here doing interviews, trying to do different job things, and Issa's she can't think of what Issa's doing. Issa like, I'm moving. And they were like, what, you moving? And she was like, yeah. Issa ass one trying to move. She can't because she can't afford it rent. So the next thing that we see is she's at work. And, they have the Latino kids at the office, and they're doing some of the whole we got you PSAT training stuff. And her boss like, oh, this is, such a good idea. What made you guys think about this? And she was like, oh, well, because, we wanted to make time and make sure that, the kids who weren't getting served during the week can still get service. And she was like, well, why weren't they getting, what was going on? Why weren't they getting service during the week? Oh, you don't know, it's okay. She was going to go ask Frida. And she's like, no, you can just talk to me. It's fine. She was like, well, the vice principal was kind of giving us some issues. And, wasn't really allowing the Latino kids to join. And she was like, none of that was in the briefing and the paperwork and the reports and stuff. And she was like, yeah, I kind of just left it out of there. I wanted to, kind of get it handled on our own. So we just decided to bring them here and teach them separately. And she was like, we're having a segregated teaching lesson here. With the Latinos, they're being taught separately. We know that's illegal. We can't do that. It can be a lawsuit. I can't believe you would do this. I'm very disappointed in you. And she's like, this could be a lawsuit. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about that. I just wanted to help them. I was just trying to fix it. And she was like, after we get this handled, we're going to discuss you being out in the field. And her boss seemed pissed off. She did. I didn't think her boss would be that pissed off about it. But I guess it's a thing what Issa said, that they purposely did not say it was happening and kind of kept letting the black kids be taught was the wrong thing to do. But I'm like, damn, is she gonna get fired? Or Issa. So the next thing we see is Issa at home. They were watching that slave TV show again, and it goes off, and then Issa like, okay, y'all wanna help me pack? And they're like, bitch, for what? You got nowhere to go. So Issa don't have nowhere to move to, because we know, as Issa said, I'm broke. We see she's still walking around. We do see she don't have a car. I don't believe her car is even fixed yet, because she is on hard times. And so, but she's having to move because she can't afford the rent increase. So, they trying like, okay, we'll help you fake pack, okay, whatever. So she's like, well, did you talk to my friend who you can be their roommate? She was like, no, I didn't, I want to live on my own. She was like, but bitch, you ain't got no money. Bitch, you broke. You can't do that. And she was like, what? I need to live on my own. And they're like, yeah, but Issa, you can't afford to live on your own. So, because Kelly was like, bitch, you don't have no money. I'm sorry, but I'm a bitch trying to bitch. And I had to say that. And I'm like, damn, Issa, even your friends, saying going ham or whatnot. So, she's like, well, if I get a second job, or maybe I can steal some of my stuff, I can afford to move somewhere special, or at least move somewhere nice, or even afford this place. But no. The next thing we see again is one scene, same scene. We see they're back at work, and they're announcing who got the promotion. Was it Issa? No. Who got it? It was Frida. And her boss specifically said, I want to pick someone who I can trust in the field. And it's going to be Frida. But I'm like, okay, whatever. So Issa told Frida she was happy for her. Okay, next. Next we see that Issa is selling her stuff. She's having a yard sale. She's selling all of her stuff because, again, she's moving, and so she needs to get rid of her stuff because she's probably going to end up having to move with someone. And, her ghetto-ass neighbor, like, what I'm saying? How much for this Brock pot? I'm like, you really can't say C, homie? And he bought it for, I got $5 in this EBT bar. I'm looking like, you really can't say C, but okay, bruh. And her brother like, look, stop making these prices so expensive. You need to sell all this shit. Why is the blanket $8? It's old and it's from Target and it got mustard on it. But a man bought it for $10, so it is what it is. We then see neighbor boo walk up, like, oh, you really moving? And she's like, yeah. And he like, I'm really miss you. I was using your Wi-Fi. And I'm looking like, you really? That's why on my house, I have a goddamn password for my Wi-Fi, and no, you cannot have it unless you come into my house and we cool like that, and I give my Wi-Fi password. Anywho, he like, for real though, what I'm saying? I'ma really miss you. And she's like, oh yeah, cool. The girl who we walked up with is on the couch. Issa and Lauren's couch. Like, how much for this couch? And Issa looking at it, and she like, so she's having this whole moment in her head. And then she's back in her apartment, and the only thing in the apartment is a lamp and the couch. And she then calls Lawrence. And we see this is the moment when she called Lawrence, when Lawrence was arguing with old girl in the car. So she called Lawrence and said, hey, I'm moving. I want you to know, I have some of your stuff here. And also, I think you should have a couch. So I won't be here this day at this time, so you can come get your stuff and you don't have to worry about seeing me. So, and that's really it. We then see that she's supposed to move with her brother. But he got all these punk ass, fake ass rules. And he like, yeah, no niggas in the house unless I'm fucking them. I did not know her brother was gay. Your friends can't come over, use my shower. Keep a muzzle on Kelly. And if, no shoes in the house. And she like, but you ain't even got no carpet. And he like, well, whatever. Those are my rules. So, it's like, whatever. He take her back to her place. And he like, how long you gonna be? She's like, nigga, I gotta go in here and like do a walkthrough and give my keys to the landlord. He was like, how long? Nigga, 10 minutes. Her brother's an asshole. So she go up to her apartment. She opens the door and she closes. She's like looking around because it's all empty. Lawrence came and got the couch and his stuff. And as she's walking through, she looks to the side for the burnt ceiling, and Lawrence is standing right there. And she's like, oh, hey. So I'm like, oh, okay, hey, Lawrence. And he's standing there, and he like, what happened? And points to the ceiling. She's like, oh, I lost control one day, and, it just happened or whatever. And he was like, they're both saying, like, I didn't like the way how we ended things. He said it first, and she said, yeah, me either. He's like, I feel like I'm just fucking up. And she was like, well, this is the perfect place for that. Ha, 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 ha. So they walk in the kitchen, and they're having a conversation. They're having some chit chat or whatnot, and she's like, yeah, the area is changing, and that's why they went up on a rant. Ha 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 ha. And he's like, is that why you're moving? And she's like, yeah, yeah, but it's one of the reasons. And then he goes into look, I'm sorry. And then he starts trying to apologize. She's like, no, don't apologize to me. Because she feel like, she cheated on him, so why is he apologizing? He goes into, let me finish. I'm sorry for not being who you expected me to be and who I expected me to be. I'm like, go ahead, Lawrence, spit that shit, Lawrence. Because it's true. I think he said, he just lost himself and he didn't know what to do. And he was just also caught up. And his thing that he just did not realize that he wasn't being the man that Issa needed him to be and who he needed him to be, and that's one reason why Issa cheated. And it was I'm like, okay, that's a real ass conversation. Okay, cool. We then see Issa say, Lawrence, I wanted to be better for you because of you. I wanted to, I depended on you to be better for the both of us. And when you couldn't beat it, I did not know how to handle it. Meaning, once Lawrence was kind of sitting around in the press and didn't want to do shit, and he was just unemployed and he didn't care, she didn't know how to be herself. So then she also lost herself in the middle of the bullshit. And they both were struggling, not knowing how to be what the other one needed. And that's why their relationship fucking failed. And she's like, what I did was the worst thing that I could do, that I could have done to you. It wasn't about you. You only loved me and wanted me to be the best for you. You know what I'm saying? And, you wanted me to wish the best for you. It was just such a beautiful conversation of her saying, I understand that you loved me and you've only loved me, and all you wanted from me was for me to want the best for you. And him hearing her say that was also a good thing, because he was like, damn, she wasn't out here just being a hoe, fucking around and doing whatever. And, she was like, I did love you. I still do love you. I still love you very much. And he's like, I love you too. And, they hug. And I'm like, okay, are they getting back together? Like, is that what's happening? I'm like, is really? But, no, they didn't get back together. He hugs her, and he walks to the door. And I'm like, dang, y'all not going to just stay there together and just be together? Like, you ain't going to say, Issa, let's just move back in here together and share this rent or whatever. Let's just be together. And he's like, all right, I'm going to head on out. And she's like, okay. And she walked him to the door. And, he outside the door, and she inside the door, and he's like, bye, Issa. And she's like, all right, bye. And as she turned about to close the door, he come back, and he was like, I can't do this, I can't imagine life without you, I just want to be with you, I'm so sorry, will you marry me? And I'm like, oh shit, this is what I've been waiting for. Come on, Lawrence, Let the woman know that you want to be with her on your. Yes, Lawrence. And she's like, oh my God, yes. I'm like, bitch, come through. Okay, happiness and happiness, black love all up and through. It goes from that scene to they married. They in their wedding gear and they on that couch. I'm like, oh, that's so fucking amazing. They're gonna show a whole little montage, and that's gonna be the whole new season next time. You know, them as a married fucking couple and how insecure they're gonna be. So went from that to seeing, you know what I'm saying, they having sex in the bed. Okay, y'all still fucking in that small ass bed in that apartment. Okay, I would have preferred to move to Lauren's house because his house is a little bit better, but whatever. We see from the sex scene, you know, then she pregnant. Oh shit, you knocked her up. So the whole next season gonna be like they first and second year into marriage. Then, you know, she's pregnant. Then they walk into the house with the new baby. And, you know what I'm saying, she's like, oh my God, you know, it's full circle. I'm looking like, okay, this is a hell of a way to end the episode. Yes. And then what the fuck happened? The goddamn imagination war. I'm looking like, I forgot Issa be imagining shit all the time. Man, back to round one. Lawrence is still outside the door. And he's still saying, bye, Issa. And he really walked the fuck off. I'm looking like, God damn it, Issa. I really thought, really? You gonna just fool America? But you know, okay, I get we had to get back to reality, and that would have been too much of an easy ending to everything, and it kind of would have been too rushed. You know what I'm saying? I get that. So Lawrence leaves, and she's in the apartment by herself. So even from that, Molly's then Issa's then at Molly's house. They're having dinner. Like a Moroccan type of theme, and Molly like, you know, you can always live with me, you know, I have way less rules than your brother. And she was like, girl, I love you too much to live with you, which is true. Friends should not be roommates ever. It don't, because as much as you might love your friend, y'all need your space. So she's like, you know what I'm saying, look at us with our black girl magic. And Issa like, bitch, please, we some tricks up in here. And they laughing and joking and laughing and joking. So we see as Issa is, because she's now leaving the house to go move in with her brother. And when she's in the car, she gets a message, and it's a Facebook friend request from Lawrence. Okay, that's that one. He requested you back on Facebook. Okay, cool. Because now they've had that conversation. They've always needed to have that conversation. And now that they have, they can get through all the bullshit, all the muck of it. They can become friends again. And we see Molly at home, and now she getting sexy for her boo to come over. I'm looking like, oh, she done got with old boy, you know, got with the lawyer dude, and now she like, okay, cool, I can kick it with him. And you know what I'm saying, she getting sexy. She opened the door. It's Dro monkey ass bitch, Molly. Why would you continue fucking this man? So now we see that when Issa called her, in the other thing, we was like, okay, because they showed her in bed, and it was after sex, we didn't know who it was. She just got finished fucking Dro. Bitch. Stupid ass shit. So, the last thing we see is Issa going to where she's gonna live. And when she walking up, I'm looking like, that house look familiar. Why is she going to Daniel's house? What's she gonna talk to him for? Maybe because she made up with Lauren, she gonna also apologize to Daniel. And then Daniel opens the door, and she was like, I'm sleeping on the couch. And he was like, I know. And I'm like, wait, so Issa not gonna live with Molly. She's not gonna live with her brother. She's gonna live with Daniel on his couch? Bitch, what? And that's how the episode and the season ends. I'm looking like this shit was a lot to take in. I'm happy her and Lawrence made up. I'm happy. That's about it. They got back to being cordial. Other than that, I don't know why Molly fucking drove. At all, you know. So that's my review of Insecure season 2, season finale. This was episode, I think it was like episode 8 or something like that. But yeah, we shall see what the next season brings. Hope you guys enjoyed. Other than that, I will see you guys for the next review. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Peace.